One of the most dangerous things a person can do is mistake a chapter for the entire story, yet people do it every single day. Someone makes a mistake and suddenly they're labeled careless. Someone struggles and suddenly they're labeled incapable. Someone fails an exam and suddenly they're labeled unqualified. Someone gets passed over and suddenly they're belabeled or labeled average. But here's what fascinates me. Most people are making permanent judgments based on temporary evidence. And sometimes the person they're wrong about is you. Think about it for a minute. How many people have allowed someone else's opinion to become their identity? A manager's opinion, a teacher's opinion, a recruiter's opinion, a family member's opinion, even worse. How many of us have accepted those opinions as true? If I'm being transparent and I'm being honest, I've walked that path. That has been me many times, even though I want to push back and I have pushed back. But because the longer I live, the more I realize something. People are going to form their conclusions about you. The real danger, though, the real scary part about this is it begins when you start believing them. See, growing up, I learned something pretty early. People are incredibly comfortable with telling you what you are. Sometimes say you're not experienced enough. Sometimes they say you're not qualified enough. Sometimes they say you're not ready. And sometimes they don't even have to say it. You can feel it in the air. You can feel it in the room. You can feel it when people have already decided what you're capable of. What's interesting, though, is that many of us eventually begin living inside of those conclusions. We stop applying, we stop trying, we stop speaking up, we stop taking risks, we stop believing, not because we've reached our potential, but because somebody else reached a conclusion. And somewhere along the way, we accidentally accept it. Here is where it gets interesting. Some of the greatest limitations in life are not actual limitations at all. They're conclusions. Conclusions made by people who didn't know enough about us to make them in the first place. And that's why I want to talk to you about three things that came up, allowing someone else's conclusion to become your identity. Principle number one, action creates evidence. One of the greatest mistakes I made was confusing preparation with progress. I love learning. I mean, I am a student at heart. I love books. I love courses. I even love the certifications because I love studying for them. But there was a season in my life where I was consuming information faster than I was implementing. I would buy the books, purchase the courses, listen to the podcast, watch the videos. At the end of the day, if I'm just being transparent, I felt very productive. Problem was that feeling productive and making progress are not the same thing. Information feels safe because nobody can critique a book you're reading. The moment you start executing, however, the possibility of failure becomes extremely real. Here's the lesson, family. Most people don't need more information. They need more implementation. Action creates evidence. Action creates confidence. Action creates experience, and action creates growth. Experiment with these two actionable tips. First, spend less time asking what else you need to learn and more time asking what you need to apply. Second one, when you get stuck, seek information to solve the problem in front of you instead of collecting information for problems you haven't encountered yet. I guess that's my tip right there. See, here's my professional advice, family. Learning definitely matters. Planning definitely matters because if you plan to fail, then you fail to plan. Preparation matters, but eventually you have to put yourself in an arena and discover what actually works because action creates evidence and evidence is difficult to argue with. But I get it. Once you start taking action, something interesting happens. You begin attracting opinions, and that's where the next lesson begins. Principle number two, not all opinions deserve equal weight. Oh, I know I'm about to shake some things up here, but let's go. Everybody has an opinion. Very few people have experience. There's a difference between feedback and forecast. Feedback helps you improve. Forecast attempts to define your future. One says, here's how you get better. The other says, here's why you'll never be enough. Those are not the same thing. Here's the lesson, family. Many people allow themselves to be written off before they give equal authority to every voice in their life. I'm going to say that again. Many people allow themselves to be written off because they give equal authority to every voice in their life. Here's 2 actionable tips I'd love for you to experiment with. First, ask yourself whether you're receiving feedback or someone's opinion. Second, give more weight to people willing to help you improve than people willing to simply wear a robe with a gavel and judge you. Here's my professional advice, family. Be careful taking advice from people who are emotionally invested in your limitations. People who genuinely, and I do mean genuinely, want to help you grow, usually provide a path forward, not a permanent label, but even after you take the actions, learn how to filter opinions, you'll eventually find yourself facing a challenge almost every high performer encounters. Principle number 3, the identity chapter. This is where I'm at currently right now, family. The identity chapter. See, this is where the season where nobody can see what you're becoming except you. No applause, no promotion, no recognition, no immediate results, just work, hard work, dedication, hard work, dedication, hard work, dedication. Because this is the chapter where many people quit, not because they're incapable, but because they were exhausted from waiting for external validation. Here's the lesson, family. Some of the most important chapters of your life will feel invincible while you're living them. Here's 2 actual tips I'd love for you to experiment with. First, build your identity around who you're becoming rather than others currently think of you. Second one, measure progress by growth and consistency instead of recognition. Here's my professional advice, fam. A lack of recognition does not mean a lack of progress. Some seeds grow underground longer before anyone sees what is happening above the surface. And as I get older, the more I realize something. People will always have an opinion about your potential. The question is whether you're going to build your future on their opinions or on your action. Here's the reflection. Maybe someone has already reached a conclusion about you. Maybe they've decided what you're capable of. Maybe, just maybe, they've looked at your current chapter and assumed they've seen the whole story. That's their decision, but don't let it be yours, because some of the greatest careers, the greatest leaders, the greatest businessmen, the greatest transformation, the greatest story being the moment someone refuses to accept a conclusion that was never theirs to begin with. Don't allow someone else's conclusion become your identity. The person they're judging today may still be becoming the person they're going to admire tomorrow. And remember, family, your future should be built on evidence created through action, not opinions formed through observation. Before we go, I want you to think about this one question alone, maybe 2 questions. Whose conclusion have you been carrying? Is it a teacher, a manager, a family member, a recruiter, or maybe it's been your own? See, here's the second question. What would change if you stopped treating that conclusion as true? Because the life you're capable of creating may exist on the other side of belief you've been carrying for years. Don't let someone else's conclusion become your identity. Your story is still being written. And as I always say, fam, sets and reps beat talent when talent doesn't do the reps. If you're new to the episode, I go by the name of ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, that just simply means Ed. Until next time.